In the heart of Baltimore, back in 1951, a story began that would quietly reshape the world of medicine. It started when a 31-year-old mother of five, a vibrant woman named Henrietta Lacks, who worked the tobacco fields of Virginia, walked into the colored ward of Johns Hopkins Hospital. She was suffering from severe abdominal pain, a silent alarm that something was terribly wrong. The doctors diagnosed her with an aggressive and malignant form of cervical cancer. As was standard procedure for the time, they took a small tissue sample during her treatment, without her explicit consent, and sent it off to a lab for research. This was a routine act, something done countless times before. But what happened next was anything but routine. In a lab run by Dr. George Gay, a scientist on a quest to grow human cells outside the body, something astonishing occurred. For years, every cell culture he had tried to grow had perished within a few days. It was a constant source of frustration for researchers everywhere. But when Henrietta's cells were placed in a petri dish, they didn't die. Instead, they thrived. They doubled and then doubled again and again with a vigor and relentlessness never before seen. These were the first immortal human cells ever cultured. They were given a simple code name, derived from the first two letters of her first and last names, HeLa. The HeLa cells were a scientific miracle. They were robust, easy to grow, and they multiplied at an incredible rate. For the first time, scientists had a reliable and endless supply of human cells to study. This breakthrough came at a pivotal moment. The world was in the grip of a polio epidemic, a terrifying disease that paralyzed thousands of children each year. The race for a vaccine was on, and researcher Jonas Salk needed a way to test it on human cells on a massive scale. The HeLa cells were the answer. They were distributed to labs across the country, allowing Salk to safely test and perfect the polio vaccine that would save millions of lives and eradicate the disease from much of the world. But that was just the beginning. The impact of HeLa cells rippled out, touching nearly every corner of medical science. They were instrumental in the development of chemotherapy drugs for cancer treatment, allowing scientists to observe how different compounds affected cancerous cells directly. They helped us understand viruses like HIV, measles, and HPV, the very virus that had caused Henrietta's cancer. They were even sent into space on early missions to study the effects of zero gravity on human cells. From gene mapping and cloning to in vitro fertilization, Henrietta's cells have been involved in more than 75,000 scientific studies, leading to Nobel Prizes and countless medical advancements. There are now so many HeLa cells in existence that their combined weight is estimated to be over 50 million metric tons. They've been bought and sold, shipped to labs on every continent, and have become a multi-billion-dollar industry. But while her cells achieved global fame within the scientific community, Henrietta Lacks herself remained a ghost. Tragically, just 8 months after her diagnosis, Henrietta passed away. She was buried in an unmarked grave, her story seemingly over. For over 2 decades, her children grew up without knowing the incredible legacy their mother had unknowingly left behind. They struggled with poverty and lack of access to healthcare, completely unaware that a part of their mother was alive and helping to generate immense medical and financial value around the world. It wasn't until the 1970s that the truth began to surface, almost by accident. When researchers wanted to learn more about HeLa cells, they tracked down Henrietta's family to take blood samples for further genetic research. Imagine the shock and confusion for her children, learning not only that their mother's cells were alive, but that they had been commercialized and distributed globally without their knowledge or consent. They were being asked to contribute to research on cells that were taken from their mother without permission, cells from which they had never seen a single benefit. This revelation ignited a firestorm of ethical debate that continues to this day. Henrietta's story brought to light profound questions about patient rights, informed consent, and racial equity in medical research. Who owns our bodies and our tissues once they've been removed? What compensation, if any, is owed to individuals or families whose biological materials lead to profitable discoveries? The practices of the 1950s were very different, but her case forced the medical and scientific communities to confront a dark history and establish new rules. Regulations like the Common Rule were established in the United States to ensure that human subjects in research are protected and give informed consent. In recent years, there has been a growing movement to honor Henrietta Lacks and give her the recognition she deserves. Institutions that benefited from her cells have begun to acknowledge her contribution. Her family, led by her descendants, has become a powerful voice in the conversation about bioethics, advocating for greater transparency and justice in scientific research. They worked with the National Institutes of Health to create an agreement that gives them some say over how their mother Isa's genomic data is used. The story of Henrietta Lacks is a complex tapestry of scientific triumph and ethical failure. It's the story of a woman whose life was cut short, but whose cells granted her a form of immortality, touching the lives of nearly every person on this planet. Every time we benefit from a vaccine, a cancer treatment, or a new medical discovery, we owe a debt of gratitude to her. Henrietta Lacks was not just a collection of cells. She was a daughter, a wife, a mother, and a woman whose unwilling contribution changed the face of medicine forever. Her legacy is not just in the petri dishes of labs worldwide, but in the critical conversations she sparked about what is right, what is just, and what it means to be human in an age of incredible scientific power. She is the immortal mother of modern medicine. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible story. If you found this journey into medical history as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and share this video to help spread Henrietta's story. See you in the next one.